time to junk journal. I have this giant bag of junk and this little basket of junk and a whole Saturday, so let's do some junk journaling. This is my first time doing a video like this. It is going to be a junk journal with me, as you could tell by the title. I thought it'd be really fun for those of you who like to have videos playing in the background while you like journal or do whatever, which is me. I love things like that, so it's just gonna be a long, chatty junk journal with me. As you saw in the beginning, I have a ginormous bag of junk. I have been super busy the past few weeks, honestly like the past month or two, so I have not gotten a lot of junk journaling done, and we're going to be starting a new junk journal. I made a TikTok doing the cover of this. It was a hot mess. I attempted to do a tutorial on how to do the fabric and trim situation. It was the worst tutorial ever made, but it's fine. My mom basically ended up doing the whole thing because I'm a flop. But anyways, my new junk journal is the Paperage blank notebook, and I'm really excited to use it and get into it. And you might be seeing Meester the cat coming in. I think the first thing I want to do is go through some of my junk and put it in order, because I do like to do things chronologically, so let's do that. I thought while we do this, we might as well get into some topics, shall we? So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the whole swap blacklist. Have you guys seen that? Now, personally, I've never done a swap or anything, so I don't have a ton of experience with that. And I don't really know what that's like or anything. But basically, I saw a TikTok, I think it was Lindsay's journal, if I'm correct. She made a video explaining the whole situation. So basically, a bunch of women on TikTok and Instagram and stuff do swaps. And it's kind of, I assume it's kind of the same group of women who do swaps with each other, you know? Just like within the community and whatnot. And I'm gonna use this as my trash bag. But basically, I'm so sorry if you see my cat coming in and out of the frame. It's fine. I feel very disorganized right now. Oh my god, everything's already such a mess. But anyways, as I was saying, Lindsay was specifically talking about a few women. She said that they were all like friends or something, and they had created a swap blacklist of people that either didn't return swaps or didn't send good enough swaps, which I'm pretty sure that's the part that people were upset about, because the whole point of swaps is just to, at least from what I've gathered, again, I've never done one, so I don't fully know, but what my impression is that a swap is you have extra stationery and supplies, and you basically just like swap with another person and get their extra supplies and whatnot. I've seen some pretty fancy swaps and people are super creative with it, but I think that's like the essence of swaps, is just like, I think the concept's super fun. But anyways, anytime there's drama within this little community, it always throws me off so much, because I feel like I meet a lot of people within this community just because of Junk Journal Club and talking with people on social media and stuff, and I've never really had any negative experiences, or at least anything like that crazy. So it just like throws me off when people are a little catty and whatnot. But I'm also nosy, and I was trying to figure out like who created this blacklist and what was going on with that, and I could not figure it out. Anyways, my boyfriend went to Germany on a business trip, and he saved me some of his junk from the business trip, and I wanted to document it because I'm very proud of him, and he got some great pictures, and what a cool experience. Okay, I have a bunch of random pictures. Let's see, I think I'm gonna start with doing a spread on this month's Patreon, perhaps, and how that went. Let's do it. I'm gonna do a strawberry shortcake theme. Where are my scissors? Oh my goodness. I also want to talk a little bit about secondhand craft supplies and junk journal supplies and all of that, and where to get it, what to look for and stuff. Because if thrifting and like antiquing and all of that kind of thing isn't your cup of tea normally, then I feel like it could be a little bit daunting or intimidating. You're like, where do I start? So as far as thrifting goes, the sections of the thrift store that I look for are the sections that have random bags of things. They're usually in like clear bags, and there's usually a bunch of just like random stuff like kids' toys, the most random tiny things you could think of. But a lot of times I'll find packs of stickers there, packs of post-it notes. I found a bunch of tickets not too long ago in one of those sections. I've also found some scraps, scrapbook paper, that sort of thing. What the heck was I talking about? Another section that you should always check is the book section. A lot of times the book section is where I'll see scrapbook paper, but also using books is so much fun in your junk journal. One of my favorites to look for are those little golden books. Specifically the vintage ones. I just got a Swan Lake Barbie one and some other like Barbie ones. Like so cute. Vintage ones have the cutest illustrations. I'm obsessed with them. I have so much crap everywhere I can't even get to anything. Oh my god. I think I want to put this here. Or should I put it just on here? I could do a flap. I'll do a flap. Okay. I would say thrifting junk journal supplies is pretty inconsistent. Like so hit or miss. But that's just kind of how thrifting is. Now another way is to go to antique malls. It's always going to be a little bit more expensive, but honestly you can still find some really great deals. Like example, if you're in the DFW area, one of my favorite places is the Plano Antique Mall. They always have booths that are on sale, especially end of season. Like if you go, for example, right now, they have a ton of end of summer sales because booths are trying to clear out for all of the like decor and all of that sort of thing. So this is like the best time to go antiquing. I actually just went to the Plano Antique Mall like a week or so ago. I found so many vintage books, and there's always like the booths with like vintage ephemera and all of that sort of thing. It can definitely add up, but it's really fun to look through. Okay, I want to use some strawberry shortcake stuff. I always wanted to use like the packaging of one of these to create a little pocket, so I think I might try that. Put that inside. Is that cute or no? That might not be cute. We'll try it. Anyways, estate sales are probably where you'll find the best deals, and with estate sales, whenever you find craft supplies, there's always like so much, if that makes sense. I really like going on estate sale bidding websites. I'm pretty sure like most cities and areas have them. It can be a little hard to find, but a lot of times you can find them on estatesales.net, and then just look up your city or state or whatever. I'm struggling so hard with this page. Like, what's going on? Okay. On one of my estate sale auction sites, I recently found like 60 pounds of scrapbook paper. I posted a whole like TikTok going to pick it up and everything. In the picture, there was like a little shelf of a bunch of like 12 by 12 paper and stuff. I knew I was getting that. I failed to realize that there was piles and piles next to it that also came with it. I had no idea. It was a very exciting surprise, but how do people use glue sticks? Like, it's not sticking. I'm looking for one specific sticker right now, and I cannot find it. Hello? Where are you? Ugh, so disorganized. Heck. Okay, dang. Okay. Anyways, I ended up with literally a car full of paper and different things. It also even came with some like supplies, like tons and tons of stuff. And I got it all for such a great deal. There's so many cool papers and just like you cannot find in store at all now, which is what I try and find for Patreon and scrap packs and stuff, because I try not to like put too much brand new paper that you can still get in stores and stuff in scrap packs and whatnot, because then anybody can get it and people might already have it. So that's why I try so hard to like thrift as much as I can and, you know, do estate sales and things like that. And it's also better for the environment that way. So okay, I also wanted to talk about the difference between scrapbooking and junk journaling. This is a very hard-hitting, heavy topic on TikTok. Now, I grew up, honestly, elementary school, middle school, like scrapbooking and whatnot. I got super into smash books, if anyone's familiar with those. Basically a hybrid of junk journaling and scrapbooking, I feel like is the best way to describe it. But I did those for a long time. Because that's how I started, I've always been definitely more of like a scrapbooker, I guess. Since like joining Junk Journal Club and all that, I've been really trying to be a little bit more junk journaly, you know? I'm super type A, so it doesn't come like that naturally to me to just like throw stuff on the page and whatnot, you know? But I'm trying to be more go with the flow, just in general, but it's not working. I'm liking this page so far, but it's taking me forever. Like, why is this taking me so long? Like, I'm just gonna start throwing stuff on the page. Like, this is what I do. I overthink everything so much. Stop. Okay. I go again, overthinking. Oh my god. What do I do? Oh my god, this stresses me out. Okay, just throw stuff down, it's fine. I've gotten pretty lucky and I haven't had a lot of people making comments being like, this is not junk journaling, this is scrapbooking. But I've seen it on other people's pages. I get it because I know junk journaling, like the whole concept is it's supposed to be, you know, eco-friendly. It's supposed to be more accessible to everybody just because it requires like less supplies and it's just stuff that you gather from your life. I kind of get, so sometimes I do get why people, you know, make those comments, but I'm trying to do a nice mix of both. One of my things that I've gotten into that everybody else is also into is blind boxes. I have this is like what all of my junk is. Like I have the twinkle twinkle ones, this little my best friends one, like so many. Or my favorite is to go to Five Below and get like their little boxes. These are $5, so you can get like a few for the price of one of these from, you know, Hotmart, you know? I don't even know if I'm completing any of my thoughts, but I'm just gonna keep going. Tomorrow I have a junk journal meetup. It is in Oak Cliff. One of my highlights from this year is absolutely 1000% going to be the junk journal club. One of my goals for the beginning of the year was to push myself outside my comfort zone in my life as many ways as I can. And the junk journal club came at the perfect time. Amanda first messaged me in December to join. I wasn't able to go in December, so I went in January. But it has truly just been like best experience. I helped run the TikTok and it's been so much fun, like being directly involved in the group. I just really love it. I've made so many friends, and outside the club I don't have a ton of friends. I'm an extremely introverted person. Okay, people who have been to the junk journal club are like introverted because I can talk, but what I mean by introverted is like really value my alone time, and I like being alone most of the time. But when I'm social, I'm super social. I also can't hear very well, so I talk really loud. With the junk journal club, because everybody has that one thing in common, like junk journaling, crafting, that sort of thing, no matter what walk of life you come from, no matter what age you are, like everybody has something to talk about, and everybody, you know, makes friends with each other. Like, I don't know, I just love it. And I do everything from home. Like I run my shop from home, school online at home, like I do is at home. So the junk journal club gets me out of the house, and I get to try new places, like new coffee shops, new restaurants, and I go to like all around DFW, and it's just like much fun. I really recommend attending a meetup if you haven't already, and if you're in the area. I've seen a lot of junk journal clubs popping up like all over the US, and it's so fun to see. You know, maybe if you're watching this and you don't have one in your city, maybe you should think about potentially starting one. I know that sounds like super daunting, and don't ask me about it. I don't know the first thing. Amanda runs everything. She's insane. She's so good at what she does. Even if it's just like a small group every once a month, I think that could be really fun. Okay, I don't know if anybody cares, but I thought this would be a good opportunity for you to maybe get to know me a little better. So I thought I would talk a little bit about my like art journey, because I feel like I've had kind of an odd journey of how I got here and how I got to lay down stickers and all of that. So let's get into it. So like I had mentioned, I have been doing some sort of like journaling, smash booking, like whatever case may be, probably since I was like 9 years old. I'm like pretty sure. On and off obviously, but like always been like a journaler and like a documenter like that. Always been super into art, like into drawing, painting. Like in middle school, I got super into doing like colored pencil art and whatnot. I feel like that was like trendy at the time because Tumblr was around and everybody was like sharing their colored pencil art on Tumblr. Same thing with Zentangles. I got super into Zentangles. I should really get back into that stuff because it was so fun and it was so relaxing. That might be a good thing for me to do at night, actually. I'm taking a note of that. But yeah, I got super into trying like any medium I possibly could. I was in art club in elementary school, like always just very involved with that sort of thing. Took like summer art camps, all of that. I entered every single art competition under the sun, and for the life of me could not place. Like I could not get a first place, third place ribbon to save my dang life, but that's okay. But anyways, throughout middle school, I had like a scrapbooking Instagram. I would always post on there. I can't find some of the pictures. I really wish I could find all of them. I only have a few, but I was super into that. And then more towards high school, I ended up getting into special effects makeup. And all throughout high school, I did that. Instagram then turned from a scrapbooking Instagram into a special effects Instagram. And so in high school, when people would ask for my Instagram, I would give it to them, and it would be me with like bloody faces and like wounds like on my arm. Like they're probably like, what in the world is wrong with this girl? But that's what I did. I'm so lucky, and I have the most supportive parents like ever. And If you know anything about special effects makeup or makeup, the cinema makeup school in Hollywood is like the place to go if you want to be a special effects makeup artist to get licensed and stuff. I had the privilege of going there for summer camp. I was like 15 and it was in Koreatown in LA. It was like, to this day, I think the coolest experience of my life. It was taught by Adolfo, who was on Face Off. And it was so cool. We got to learn how to put prosthetics on. We got to tour some different, like, where they make the prosthetics. It was just beyond incredible. It was insane. And I'm so lucky that I was able to do that. Like, even though I don't do special effects makeup anymore, just the coolest experience. Okay, the camera might look a little different because I had to charge it for a second, but back to where we were. So all throughout high school, I was doing the special effects makeup and whatnot. I was also at the same time like still drawing, still doing a bunch of different styles of art and whatnot. And at the same time, I was also scrapbooking again. It was kind of a different style than like what we do now. I would say the way I did it was more of a combination of a sketchbook or like art journal and scrapbook. It is really fun. Those are so terrifying to look back on just because of like the writing and stuff. Oof. You could not pay me to go back to any of those years. No, sir. And then once I graduated high school, what was I doing? Once I graduated high school, I honestly kind of stopped doing like creative things for a while. I would say for like a year, because I was just starting school. I was going to a local community college and I was taking like 7 classes, like as many classes as they could basically, and I was also working full-time at Target, and so I just had like no time at all for anything honestly. And then once COVID hit and things like felt slower, you know, because I wasn't going physically in school anymore, everything switched to online, so I had a little bit more time. I started drawing again and scrapbooking and doing all the things that I would always do, which was good. And then during COVID, I got really into scrapbooking again, and then kind of discovered more of the like junk journal community, and you know, started posting on TikTok about it. At the time, I had already been on TikTok a bunch because I had a Depop, and so I was like sharing stuff about that on there. And then and last year came around and my aunt had gone on vacation and got a bunch of seashells and brought my mom and I back a couple jars of seashells, and they were super cool. And because I was painting again, I was wanting to create my own paint palette. So I just got some Crayola air dry clay and made a TikTok about me making this shell paint palette. Randomly, the TikTok blows up. Right now, I think it's sitting at like almost 5 million views, like so insane. I've never had a TikTok go viral. It was crazy. And people were telling me like, oh my God, you should sell these. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna sell them, whatever. So I made a tutorial of how I made it. If you've seen my shell trays I do now, they're nothing like that anymore. But I still have that little tutorial up, which is great for if you're just wanting to make one for fun, you know? But even after I made the tutorial, people were like, okay, but can you still sell them? Like, what are you doing? Come on. And so I did. And so I started selling them. I went to Michael's, got some clay, and started selling them. I at first sold them for way too little money. I think I was selling them for like $15 each. To be fair, I was only using like air clay and stuff. They were kind of a hot mess. So I'm glad that people didn't pay more than $15 for them. But you know, they took a long time and whatnot. Then that's how the Etsy started, honestly. My mom and I were already like really wanting to start an Etsy together. And so it was already kind of like in our minds, but that was just like the push to just get it going and get it started. We actually did not start off as Bruce Peach. We started off as, it's a French word and I can't even pronounce it. Like, imagine naming your brand something you can barely pronounce. I don't know what I was thinking, but I at first named it Passementre. Girl, ignore my pronunciation of that. But basically, Etsy first started off, it was going to be like thrifted sweaters and stuff that my mom and I like upcycle basically. And it was all going to be that. Like, it wasn't going to be a stationery shop. It wasn't going to be like a shell thing or anything like that. But it slowly evolved. Like, into stationery and stickers because that's like where my passions really are, and I can't sew or anything, so I wasn't able to like help make those products. And I am so grateful for that one TikTok. It really kickstarted this whole thing in such a random way, but I'm so grateful for it. Stickers and, you know, stationery stuff kind of came into the shop, I want to say last October, I'm pretty sure, because I had just bought a Cricut. I was so scared to buy it because I hate spending a lot of money, and I did not have a lot of money at all at the time because the Etsy was just getting started. Not that I have a ton now, but you know, did not have a lot of money. So anyways, that $400 Cricut was a very big purchase for me, but I could not be more grateful that I decided to do that. So our first sticker sheet was Grandma's button box. Still up on the shop. I kind of like redid it because my first few sticker sheets were horrible, I will say. Like, definitely would not pass my quality control now, I would say, but you know, you gotta start somewhere. If you know the story about that, it was because I have this button box from my grandma, and when she had passed, my mom got her button box, and it was just filled with like a bunch of random buttons from over the years, from like my mom's old coats or like her sister's old coats, you know, like that sort of thing. And there's just like a bunch of really cool buttons, and I've always wanted to do a project with it, but never really felt like anything was like a big enough deal because I didn't want to waste any of the buttons, if that makes sense. So I thought scanning the images and making it a sticker sheet would be like the best way to like not only honor my grandma, but also like preserve the buttons and, you know, give them a new life. My grandma was super creative, and if she was around today, she would absolutely be involved in the shop. She was really good at sewing, and like just like my mom, they're really good at just figuring stuff out, like problem solving. Like they're just good at things. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but anyways. Okay, we did around 4 pages in the new junk journal. I think that's a pretty good amount for today. If you are still here, thank you so much for sticking around. I hope you guys like this video, and if you want me to do more, I would love to because I had a lot of fun. I think if I do this next time, I might look up some questions or something to answer because I don't know what else I'm going to talk about. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and if you journaled with me, please send me a picture of your spreads that you made because that would be so fun to see, like what you were working on as I was working on this. So yes, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Okay, love you, bye!